Alright guys, Thrill Me Thursday time, and this week it is top 5 horror scores. And if this is not one of the hardest rankings I've ever had to do, this is just insane. This is one of the most divisive things that I could ever do, because music is anything in any movie, horror movies especially. I love horror scores, and this was so damn hard to do. Thanks, Devon Graham, or Drew from Hey, Isn't That Devon Graham? Thanks. But I really had a tough time doing this because I really love music in any film, and horror especially, these scores. I tried to think of the ones that are the most moving to me, the ones that creep me out the most. And I'm going to be very controversial. So, without further ado, let's get started with my number 5, which is Psycho, Bernard Herrmann's score of Psycho. And of course, what can you say about this? The piercing violins in this score, the way that he portrays this music, like, whenever you start that movie, and if you never knew the twist, it's like, whoa, there's something big that's going to happen in this movie because of the piercing violins. And it's just one of the most memorable pieces of music. And honestly, it's so funny. Whenever I like to go on, like, a long trip, I put on the Psycho theme, like, to play in my car. And I just pretend like, oh, like I ran away and stole some money. Like, it's just one of those scores that I can reenact, like, in my car. Like, I don't know why I even do that, but it's funny. It's just one of the best pieces of music ever made, like Bernard Herrmann's score for Psycho. Number 4 would be The Exorcist. And this score, in particular, the way they use... The way that this music is interpreted is like, it's not over the top in a way where it's very subtle. Like, the score is very subtle, where you're like, this music is a slow beating score, but especially the main theme, it's a slow beating score where you realize that there's something bigger here, but they are very subtle with it. And just in particular, the score for The Exorcist is one of the most memorable ever. Again, it's hard to rank these, but The Exorcist. Number 3, this is extremely controversial for me. I'm going to put another Exorcist score in here, and it's The Exorcist 2, The Heretic. Particularly for Regan's theme, which is one of my absolute favorite pieces of music ever made. Like, Ennio Morricone is just... he transcends, like, music. Like, he is truly one of the best composers ever made, or who has ever composed. And he truly is such an incredible composer, and that Regan's theme in particular is just one of the most moving pieces of music I've ever heard in my life. I can hear it over and over again and just feel moved and get chills, and it is just truly one of the best pieces of music ever made. I love the rest of the score as well, but that one in particular is the reason why I put it over Exorcist 1. Still love both scores, but that theme in particular is just particularly moving. Number 2 would be Halloween, John Carpenter's Halloween. Of course I had to put this on here. Of course I did. And the theme to this movie, no matter how many times I hear the theme, no matter which sequel I see it in, no matter which movie I see it in, it is just one of the most effective pieces of music ever made. And really just how simplistic it is that John Carpenter did to make this score. Like the whole movie, he made it very simplistic and on a tight budget. But it's one of those, like, happy mistakes where it's like a really low-budget movie that became a masterpiece. And its music is no exception. It is an absolute masterpiece. And I love John Carpenter's scores, but the original Halloween is the best, in my opinion. But truly love this score, just like the movie. I love everything about it. Number 1 would be Suspiria. And this one, again, it was hard to choose between all these, but Suspiria... Goblin's score, especially the main theme for Suspiria, is truly one of the creepiest pieces of music I've ever heard, and it truly is so incredibly catchy and so incredibly creepy. The way that he has this sing-song type of, like you hear a voice going, la da 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 da, like in the background, and while, like, it's making the creepy chimes, kind of like a children's, like, it sounds like music from, like, a children's story. Like, it sounds very simplistic in that way, but executed to the nth degree of incredibleness. Like, it is truly one of the best pieces of music ever. Um, and I love Goblin scores from all the Argento movies I've seen. Deep Red is one I would have put on here as well. I love Deep Red score and Tenebrae, but this one in particular is just one of the most memorable pieces of music that I could listen to any time. Um, the score is so interesting and fascinating, and I love everything about it. So that's why I had to put it at number one. But again, it was so damn hard to do this. Drew, this was a very hard list to make, but I'm glad I made it. I'm glad I decided on what to do, but like it was tough, and there's so many movies I could put on here. But I'm glad he limited it to five, so I had to think about it really hard. And so yeah, overall, that is my list of top five horror scores for this week's Thrill Me Thursdays. So tell me down below what your favorite scores in horror are, or make a video, and Drew will put it in the playlist if you put hashtag Thrill Me Thursdays in the title. So that is my video, and thank you guys so much for watching.